let us execute an immediate, sweeping analytical vector shift away from the dark Gothic fraternity houses of secret society blood romance loops and plunge straight into the sun-bleached, calculation-heavy tracking grids of Pacific coastal isolation, weaponized maritime smuggling rings, and the fiercely protective world of a legendary exiled law enforcement asset running raw tactical alignment loops. We are crossing the threshold directly into the hyper-monitored, rugged mountain ridges of Santa Catalina Island, the exclusive procedural grid of an active, multi-layered county cover-up, and the lethal analytical parameters of an intense, territory-based survival matrix with Nightshade, the exceptional, pulse-pounding structural deployment marking the monumental series premiere engineered by the absolute undisputed sovereign of high-velocity police procedurals, sharp investigative profiling, and rogue tactical statecraft, Michael Connelly. This introductory tracking sequence delivers an exceptional look at an operational crossroads where a fierce, underestimated detective sergeant asset running an unyielding field loop, a brilliant female harbor master partner running a localized protection routine, and an absolute defense of an individual's final personal sovereignty metrics collide at terminal velocity. Let us map the strategic narrative grid. If you are an elite enthusiast of high-octane, slow-burn crime thrillers where an endangered, hyper-observant law enforcement protagonist must navigate an absolute maze of rigged jurisdictional boundaries, deep state maritime logistics, and a deadly ring of active institutional gaslighting while running a blind survival loop inside a completely compromised coastal ecosystem, where an analytical mind uses deep behavioral profiling, calculated ballistics boundaries, and absolute mental stamina to outmaneuver an invisible predatory fixer network, and where the author utilizes an incandescent, exiled LA County detective transferred to a seemingly peaceful island uncovers a brutal underworld murder syndicate diagnostic routine to test our hero's structural limits, this book is engineered to lock you in. Connelly completely dominates the high-precision island forensics meets mainland hostility dynamic, capturing the heart-racing intellectual momentum, suffocating domestic paranoia, and heavy deductive depth popularized by genre of arcs like Lee Child, John Sanford, Robert Craze, and C.J. Box, while treating realistic sheriff substation logistics, complex nautical alignment arcs, and protective high-density maritime extraction grids with absolute technical mastery. The narrative tracking grid zeroes in on the highly volatile, calculation-heavy baseline of our central legendary powerhouse asset, Detective Sergeant Stillwell, operating under a severe calculation-heavy handicap of a bruising recent divorce, professional exile following a raw confrontation with mainland supervisors, and a hyper-visible targeting profile by the county's encroaching black market capos. Behind Stillwell's rigorous mountain trail footprints and tense substation log records lies an intricate matrix of hidden faction allegiances, deeply buried institutional secrets, and sharp, high-stakes tactical maneuvers. Stillwell's collective defense mechanisms are locked down tight behind a lifetime of navigating unstable LAPD structures and studying complex forensic schemas, his entire analytical focus strictly consumed by monitoring sudden threat vectors from defensive mainland administrators, parsing complex behavioral shifts from his sharp, locally bred assistant harbor master asset Tosh Dano, and shielding his vulnerable sanctuary nodes from being entirely wiped out by a ruthless elite cleanup offensive. The spark ignites when an unexpected high-frequency structural anomaly breaches his active scanning perimeter. A sudden, shocking homicide on the seemingly paradise-like island instantly cross-references with a high-level calculated malice designed to guarantee an absolute multi-layered criminal execution. As the hostile syndicate's mobilization phases enter an increasingly lethal terminal tier inside the isolated Catalina valleys, a series of suspicious evidence sabotage attempts, targeted witness frame-ups, and calculation-heavy late-night harbor ambushes threaten to permanently eliminate Stillwell from the active investigator registry. The official diagnostic metrics of the global tracking centers flash white-hot when his defensive investigative maneuvers and raw defensive output reveal that his fresh operational alignment is radically impossibly altering the Southern California underworld's historical balance of power. The standard boundaries of routine island jurisdiction and peaceful tourist compliance protocols crumble, and our central protagonist runs completely out of standard diplomatic escape vectors. He is thrust directly into an active, invisible war spanning from the airport in the sky to the deep Pacific shipping channels, where deceptive narcotic syndicates, highly manipulative mainland fixers, and a calculation-heavy tactical shadow network launch aggressive countermeasures to permanently suppress his survival data stream.
The tactical parameters instantly explode as their historical and survival warfare turns completely active, transforming the isolated hiking trails, dark harbor surveillance perimeters, and private fortified residential chambers into a volatile psychological pressure cooker and a physical battle zone. Our protective, hyper-vigilant protagonist is forced to deploy his massive intuitive tradecraft, elite environmental mapping skills, and raw physical stamina to repair his perimeter and secure true institutional advancement before the next systemic department realignment permanently deletes his mission file. When deceptive regional red herrings, corrupted Coast Guard ledger logs, and calculation-heavy tactical ambushes launch aggressive plays to delete his path, his survival instincts engage their final deployment tracks. Every midnight archival excavation, every silent choice to stand off against an imposing mainland supervisor behind standard security barriers, and every intense moment of channeling raw, unyielding survival mechanics chips away at his reliance on original peaceful rules. What follows is an exceptional high-stakes war of perspective, tactical position, and raw human grit. We watch the mainland elite's deceptive perimeters completely unwrapped as the author reveals that the true victory requires more than just surviving an initial setup or managing a hostile precinct interrogation. It demands an absolute, uncompromised defense of individual dignity, personal truth, and systemic survival against a cold, calculating machine of institutional hierarchy and high society supremacy. While our central characters smooth over each other's psychological and defensive blind spots with devastating analytical force, creating a fiercely protective, absolute web of dark, possessive loyalty around their union, a brutal series of close-quarters tactical confrontations and high-stakes evidentiary breakthroughs shifts the clock into its terminal phase, proving that historical emotional hazards have tracked them to their final outpost. To survive the impending lock-grid trap and permanently secure his sanctuary, our resilient hero must unleash an absolute, unyielding defense of his final boundary lines. It is a police procedural thriller, island crime suspense, law enforcement drama noir, high-velocity contemporary mystery masterpiece that treats deep relational logistics and intense structural friction with elite precision. The tension here burns with a sharp, calculation-heavy intensity. We are talking about that high-frequency, one-whispered informant tip triggers a fatal beach showdown energy, where a sudden pause during an active franchise tactical briefing, an unexpected shift in an adversary's protective physical posture during a high-stakes standoff confrontation, or a heavy, possessive realization that an elite intelligence operative has completely mapped your personal coordinates carries massive structural weight. Connelly writes with an exceptionally fresh, vivid, and beautifully blunt voice, perfectly capturing the heavy, oppressive atmosphere of a private executive vault before a major corporate takeover, and the distinct, subtle scent of polished mahogany, expensive ballistics residue, salty ocean spray, sun-baked sagebrush, boat diesel, spilled copper, and pure, unadulterated suspense. What truly elevates this contemporary series launch into elite territory is the author's unmatched ability to balance complex, high-stakes community dynamics and genuine protective power tradecraft alongside a breathtaking narrative pace and deep emotional hooks. Our protagonists don't rely on unbelievable, superficial Hollywood superhero action tropes. Their immense situational intelligence, strategic patience, and profound survival instincts match the complexity of the chaotic modern corporate and high society underworld they dominate step for step, making their choices to risk everything feel profoundly authentic and deeply gripping. The pacing moves with calculated momentum, tracking intense conversational standoffs and breathtaking tactical breakthroughs before ratcheting up to an absolute jaw-dropping conclusion that delivers total, hard-earned advancement to their horizon. Nightshade is the definitive pro-level upgrade your high-stakes action fiction and intense asset suspense library demands right now. It is elegant, immensely fast-paced, and utterly unputdownable. It proves that when your entire sanctuary is targeted by a cold, calculating institutional monster, the most revolutionary play you can execute is to lock your perimeters, trust your elite survival training, and fight like hell alongside your network to rewrite the data. So secure your personal reading sanctuary, review your emotional defensive perimeters, open your Kindle, and prepare to track the fleet.